What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today it is more championship score predictions. We made it to match day 20. We had a huge amount of game week predictions as well in midweek, so we need to talk about all of those as well. But we'll be predominantly focusing on the weekend games. We've got a top of the table clash. We've got so many big games to go on about today. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does try to help the channel. Please do hit that subscribe button if you've not done so. Please also share the channel too. That also really helps grow this channel as well. The prediction league will be updated in the latest community tab. This is where you'll see the updated scorings. To enter the prediction league, guys, all you've got to do is simply comment your score predictions in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's start predicting for this weekend's games in the championship. Let's start off with Reading going up against Preston North End. This is going to be the early game for Friday night, and I am going to be intrigued of the outcome for this matchup here. So Preston managed to pick up a win in their midweek game. They managed to pick up a narrow 1-0 win against Swansea City. Reading, on the other hand, only managed to get a draw at best against Luton Town. But based on how they performed, it did feel that Reading actually was slightly unfortunate not to get anything more from that game. So I definitely think going into this game, I think both teams have got some really good qualities within them. I definitely think both teams, being right up there in the top half of the table, I think both of them can really give each other a game. It could have the danger of it being a mid-table battle, and the last mid-table battle we had with the either side, we saw Reading and Luton very recently draw 0-0. I'm hoping it's not going to be the same fate. I think, based on the head-to-head record, I'm going to edge Reading. Reading have got a better head-to-head record against Preston than the latter. I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 victory. I think it'll be very, very tight, but I think Reading might scrape through. The only concern I have in my prediction is if they score enough goals. But I do think Reading might do enough to win here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Sheffield United versus Burnley. Now this is the game I'm most looking forward to the most. It is first place of the table in Burnley going up against third place in the table in Sheffield United. And it's a big opportunity for Sheffield United as well, because they do play before Blackburn in this weekend as well. So they can momentarily be second place in the table if they do not lose this game. And I do think Sheffield United on the whole at Bramall Lane have had a better record than what they have done away from home. Obviously, Sheffield United had that awful run of not being able to win in 7 games. They've recovered, and they have managed to be fair to them, managing to pick up a win, which they did do in midweek against Bristol City. I do think they got one good chance that they managed to take. They had one great spell, but then for the rest of it, I think they were actually in the back foot a little bit against Bristol City for most of it there. Burnley completed an unbelievable comeback against Rotherham, being 2-1 down in the 90th minute and to win 3-2. It shows you everything and more for what Burnley are capable of. They just simply find a way. They refuse to let go of a lead or even just to get a sniff of a point. And I do think Burnley will at least get a point. There's a reason why Burnley have only lost 1 game so far this season. Their options, their resilience, their work ethic, and just the tactical changes that company makes as well. It's definitely been an underrated job, and honestly, he's done wonders with Burnley now. They're 5 points clear for top now, and they can even extend that, and this will be a really, really big statement win if Burnley can get it. As a prediction, however, I think they'll cancel each other out here. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think it'll be a really open, intense match. I'll naturally say that both teams will score but concede a couple as well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Blackburn going up against Huddersfield. So Blackburn had a very disappointing midweek when they lost 1-0 to Coventry. They also went down to 10 men as well. So it really could have been even worse for Blackburn in a way. So for Huddersfield, they lost 2-0 to Sunderland, where I was a bit miffed because I predicted 1-0 to Sunderland, but then Huddersfield, being a bit naive, throwing every guy forward, trying to get the equaliser, and naturally they get done on the break, and then Amad Diallo finishes off the scoring to make it 2-0 to Sunderland. So a bit naive on their part. I guess they were trying to push for an equaliser, but either way, they need to try and have better organisation and just not to be so naive tactically. Blackburn will not take them any prisoners. They've lost one game, which was our away game, but on the whole, at home, they've actually really improved. I think their home form is definitely their strong suit, and I think they'll naturally continue into this game. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Blackburn based on the balanced squad, and I do think they will be able to outrun Huddersfield here. So I'll go to the 2-1 Blackburn. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to do is Blackpool versus Luton Town. With Luton Town, I mentioned that they were involved with a draw against Reading. There was a very unfortunate injury that they got there with Bradley, and I really do hope that he gets a very speedy recovery there. It's not very nice hearing someone getting injured by going on their ankle. For Blackpool, they actually were involved in a disappointing defeat to West Brom, which at that time, they were rock bottom of the Championship, and they gave West Brom a good chance to try and climb out of the bottom three. So I do think both these teams, they're definitely not playing their best in midweek, but I think on the whole, they've had some good spells in the season. Patino wasn't featured for Blackpool against West Brom. If he's back, I think he could be a really big part of that Blackpool squad. Luton, I think Morris is in the form of his life, so it'll be interesting to see a comparison between Patino and Morris in this game here. As a prediction, I think we may get a draw. I think they'll cancel each other out, and I'll go for a 1-1 draw, therefore. I'm going for a draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. The next game to predict is Middlesbrough going up against Bristol City. So both teams have had contrasting results in midweek. Middlesbrough have managed to win Michael Carrick's first win as Middlesbrough's boss with a 3-1 away victory against Hull City. It was a bit tense when Hull won that equaliser, but to be fair to them, the late goals that they did score, Chuba Akpom especially producing some brilliant magic there to make it 3-1. And honestly, if they can start scoring more frequently and taking more of their chances, it will improve Middlesbrough's chances of climbing up the table. It is a very encouraging sign. For Bristol City, I think they were a bit unfortunate. In fact, not only a bit, very unfortunate not to get anything there. I think they, with them hitting the woodwork twice, I definitely think that if they just had better decision making in the final third, I think Bristol City could have got something against Sheffield United, So I think they'll give Middlesbrough a fight. It's so tough, especially when a team is playing, with their first couple of games with a new manager. It's very difficult to judge. But I think Middlesbrough will go on a bit of a run now. I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory because I don't really back both teams' defences. I think Bristol City's set-piece defending is not particularly great. And for the fact that they've got a lot of injuries in that area, I think it does leave them exposed. And Middlesbrough, I've not really been too impressed as a whole with their defending either. So I'll go for a high-scoring 3-2 victory to Middlesbrough. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Millwall versus Hull City. Millwall are back at home where they would definitely want to be. They've played 2 away games very recently, and they've not picked up good results. They've only picked up 1 point in their last 2 away games, and it's definitely their home form that's definitely the strongest part. With Hull City, their away form has actually been relatively strong with 2 away wins in a row actually, and scoring over 7 goals in those 2 away games too. It's going to be interesting to me to see if Liam Rosenior is officially going to take over before that game. I'm of course recording it before Thursday, so I'm not going to be aware of the news. Hull could have a new manager by this time this video comes out, but it is looking like that Liam Rosenior is going to be the man to lead Hull City, and I think it's a good choice actually. I think it's a very exciting choice for the Championship. I just hope that he improves Hull defensively, because I think that's been their biggest issue this season. For this game, however, I think for the fact that Mill being so reliable at home, I'm going to go for them to win this game. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Millwall in this game, and I think Hull will start improving results if they start getting that stability. So I'll go for 2-0. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is QPR versus West Bromwich Albion. So QPR were involved in a draw against Norwich, a 0-0 draw in that case there. West Brom picked up a crucial, and I can't stress this enough, a crucial win over Blackpool, and it meant that it's only their 3rd win of the season. But before you know it, they are only 3 points away from safety actually. So a win in this game could definitely give West Brom a fighting chance to be out of the bottom 3. However, QPR on the whole have been really, really encouraging actually. I think there's some great improvements that Mick Beale is definitely having with his system right now. I've been with QPR playing in a couple of away games recently. I think likewise with Millwall, I think they're better at home rather than what they are with away from home. And likewise with Millwall, actually they've only picked up 1 point in their last 2 away games as well. So as a prediction, I'm going to go for a draw. I think West Brom are going to start getting a bit more consistent in terms of not losing games. It's just going to be my question to see if they're going to turn draws into wins. So that's my only slight concern. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think it's easy to get something against QPR this year. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Rotherham versus Norwich. So 2 completely different games that these two sides have been playing against each other in their midweek one. Rotherham were involved in a 5-goal thriller, being 2-1 up in the 90th minute against top of the league Burnley as well. They would have been responsible for Burnley's first home defeat of the season, but Burnley somehow turned it around and Rotherham completely threw it away. I think it's definitely a heartbreaking moment for Rotherham, one of the biggest heartbreaking moments they've had all season. Norwich were involved with a 0-0 draw, and they've had a couple of low-scoring games where Norwich just look like that they've got potential, but they just don't have the quality in the final third, a bit similar with Bristol City. So I definitely think the consistency needs to improve in terms of getting consistently good results and the amount of attacking play we see as well, and just being clinical as well. And it's a confidence thing as well with this one. This does have the feel that this could be a shock. I definitely think Rotherham have been relatively alright. I know they're winners in their last 4 games, but I actually think in their performances they've done relatively well in most of those games. I think if Rotherham can score first, and we saw against Burnley at some stages that they can definitely frustrate teams, and I think Norwich have done it before where they're trying to chase a game and it's just too little too late for them to get back into it. So as a prediction, I'm going to actually go for a 1-0 victory to Rotherham. I'm actually going to predict a shock. We've seen many shocks in the Championship already this year, and I'll go for this one being one of the biggest shocks. So I'll go for 1-0 Rotherham. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Stoke versus Birmingham. Both Stoke and Birmingham were involved in midweek, and actually Stoke picked up a really good win in midweek, actually picking up an away victory against Wigan Athletic. Wigan did have a goal disallowed in the final minute, so maybe they're a little bit fortunate to keep that win in the end. But the fact that Stoke did keep that win, which I did correctly predict, it does give them a bit of breathing space, and it just feels very inconsistent. You know, whilst Stoke can have pretty good form, they follow that up with 3 consecutive defeats, and they really need to stop doing that if they want to try climbing up the table. Birmingham were involved in a 0-0 draw with Millwall in midweek. It still puts Birmingham in the top half of the table, and right now, with only 1 defeat in 5, I actually think Birmingham are proving to be a pretty difficult team to beat. And I actually think the midfield, the signings have been a really, really big part of that actually. I do think as a prediction, however, I think they'll cancel each other out based on what I've seen with the squads. I think Stoke being the home team, Birmingham definitely could shock Stoke, but I feel if Stoke score first, I think it'll be a draw. But if Birmingham score first, I actually think Birmingham may hold on for a win. So I'm just going to assume that Stoke have a quick start and Birmingham are just going to have to chase. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And I think it'll be another brilliant performance by John Roddy, who's literally gone under the radar, being one of the better goalkeepers in the Championship. So I'll go for 1-1. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Sunderland versus Cardiff. So Sunderland were involved in a 2-0 win over Huddersfield, as I did previously mention there. Cardiff are, however, were involved in a defeat, which is not good news for them because they're only on 21 points and they're only 2 points above 22nd place Wigan Athletic now. So they're definitely not safe. They were involved in a pretty close game against Watford where they lost only by 2-1. I just have a bit of concern with their form. It's 4 defeats in 5, only 1 win picked up in those last 5 games. And I think the uncertainty of the manager situation is not helping. I definitely felt if they confirm Mark Hudson as their new manager, I think the squad will be a bit more unified and I think they'll feel a bit more motivated as well. So I do think the situation there is a bit peculiar, to be honest. I think Sunderland, they're coping very well with the injuries that they got, picking up a really good win, and I think they might squeak a win again here. I definitely back Sunderland a little bit based on how poor Cardiff have been, especially with their away form recently. I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory to Sunderland. I don't think it'll be easy because Sunderland actually have not been particularly impressive at home this season, which has surprised me a bit. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Swansea versus Wigan. So I'm definitely more confident on one team than the other. Despite both of them losing in midweek, I have seen a difference in performances from both of them. Swansea, to be fair, were within the game against Preston, but it was a really good defensive performance by Preston to really keep them out. With Wigan, however, like they've had done in the last couple of games or so, they have started to really struggle now. 6 consecutive defeats has seen this Wigan side looking like they were in or around the top 6 in the first couple of games of the season, and now they are 22nd place, falling into the relegation zone for the first time this season. They really do need to get a grip, because if they are not careful, I do think things will get quite tricky for them there. And we've seen Rotherham and Sunderland doing relatively well as 2 other newly promoted clubs, so I do think the pressure is on Wigan to see if they can really potentially turn this around. I do think they have the capability, but I don't know, something doesn't feel particularly consistent with this team at the moment. And I think Swansea, based on how good they've been at home, the firepower that they've got and the options that they've got, I think Swansea can definitely run this team ragged. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory for Swansea. I think it's going to be pretty comfortable for them. Wigan might throw a shock, but I'm going to go for Swansea win. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Final game to predict in this weekend's games, in the Championship at least, is Watford going up against Coventry. So, Watford and both Coventry actually were involved in wins in midweek actually, and both were important wins for very different reasons entirely. For Watford, that win for them made sure they returned back into the top 6, so they've managed to catch up with all of the teams that they had to try and overtake with their really poor run of form, and now they're back in the top 6, and if they continue that form, I think Watford could start trying to go through a comeback of all comebacks and maybe try and go for automatics. In terms of Coventry, their win against Blackburn in midweek was very important, and if anything, even more important than Watford's win, because that win took them out of the bottom 3 for the first time this season. A really, really good finish by Jamie Allen, a good build up to that goal. And honestly, right now, I do think Coventry are looking like that they try to build something at the moment. There are some complications with the CBS. Of course, they're not playing at the CBS, so I think it's a good distraction for them right now. So the administrators who were in charge of running the stadium, their companies have gone to administration, but the stadium can stay open. And apparently there's been a preferred bidder, and Mike Ashley is the latest name I've heard. It doesn't mean it is going to be Ashley, but it is a name that's definitely has been thrown into the hat in terms of a preferred bidder. So I'll be intrigued to see the news stories come out from this CBS arena situation in the next couple of days or so. Going into the games and the teams, I do think Watford have looked really confident very, very recently with their goal scoring, especially, with 3 wins in a row now, and they've faced some really some tricky games as well. And with their last home game being a 4-0 victory against Luton, I definitely think they're starting to get the confidence now. Coventry won't make it easy. I think defensively they've been a lot better, and I think they'll make the game a bit closer. But as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Watford. I think they might just have enough to potentially force a win over the line. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. So guys, that is my predictions done for the Championship Matchday 20. Make sure you also comment your predictions in the comments down below, so you guys can get involved in the Lexalexus Football Prediction League. So that wraps it up for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help. Please do hit that subscribe button if you've not done so. It does really help. And please share the channel too. All of this really helps as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for storing this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.